Hey everyone, today's video is about when you get beaten up in front of them. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and let's get going. The dual ache of metal biting into your wrists and ankles slowly started to fade into numbness, but the burning sting of every blow and strike from your captors continued to roar through your body. The small, dimly lit room you were trapped in made it impossible to tell how long you'd been there, only that every second seemed to stretch into a lifetime of agony. Across the room, Bakugo and Kirishima strained against their bindings, their movements frantic and desperate. The thick metal devices around their necks and limbs cancelled out their quirks, leaving them powerless. Their faces, normally filled with confidence and strength, were now twisted in horror as they watched you suffer. Katsuki, we have to. Kirishima's voice cracked, his eyes wide as he tugged at the restraints around his wrists until his skin bled. He was panicking. Something you rarely saw. The usual unbreakable Kirishima was breaking at the seams. Shut up, I know. Bakugo snapped, but his voice wavered. His crimson eyes never left your form as he struggled on the floor, curled up and coughing blood. There was a desperation in him that you'd never seen before. He always believed he could win, no matter how dire the situation, but this was different. One of your captors, a tall, faceless figure, cloaked in shadow, stepped forward again. His heavy boot connected with your side, and he let out a sharp, agonizing cry. It felt like your ribs were breaking, one by one, and you could barely breathe. Stop. Stop it. Bakugo roared, his voice raw with helplessness. He pulled at the quirk-canceling machine with all his strength, his veins bulging, the muscles in his arms straining so hard it looked like they might tear. But the metal wouldn't budge. His explosions remained dormant. Why are you doing this? They haven't done anything to you. Kirishima's voice was heard, tears brimming in his usually unshakable eyes. His red hair was matted with sweat, and his body trembled with the effort of trying to break free. Please don't hurt them anymore. He tried to lift your head, to look at them, to offer them some kind of comfort, but everything just hurt. Your vision blurred from the pain, and each breath felt heavier than the last. I'm okay. You asked, even though you knew that you weren't. You knew it, and they did too. Don't talk like that. You're gonna be fine. We're gonna get out of here. Bakugo barked, but his voice faltered at the end, betraying his fear. You hear me? We're gonna make it. But deep down, you knew that you weren't. Your body was breaking apart under the pressure, and there was no escape. The figure loomed over you once more, raising his hand. The blows felt duller, less real. The pain started to ebb, replaced by a cold numbness creeping through your lungs. Kirishima screamed, struggling to, violently, as his dress began to bleed from the metal. No, stop it. Please. We can give you whatever you want. Just leave them alone. Please, we beg you. You looked up at them, barely able to hold on any longer. The sound of Bakugo's fury and Kirishima's desperate pleas blurred together in your mind. You wanted to tell them that it wasn't their fault, that they shouldn't blame themselves no matter what. But the words wouldn't come out anyway. Moyan. Bakugo's voice cut through the haze, sharp and filled with more emotions than you've ever heard from him. Stay with us, damn it. Don't you freaking give up. You tried to respond, but all that escaped your lips was a broken, faint whimper. Your chest was tightening, your heartbeat slowing. It was getting harder to keep your eyes open. Everything just felt so heavy for you. I love you, you whispered, barely audible. It was all you could manage before the darkness started to pull you under. He wanted them to know, before he couldn't say anything at all. Kirishima's sobs were loud now. His face crumbled in devastation as he screamed your name over and over. Baku's entire body trembled, his eyes wide and wild as he screamed in frustration. No, you're not going to die. You hear me? You're not allowed to just do that. But he couldn't hold on any longer. The pain was too much, and the world around you continued to fade. The last thing you saw was Baku and Kirishima, both broken and desperate, as the darkness swallowed you whole. Baku's scream of pure anguish was the last sound that you heard, before everything just went silent. The silence was suffocating. Baku's scream still echoed in the small room, reverberating off the cold concrete walls as your body lay motionless in front of them. It was the kind of silence that crushed the air from your lungs, weighed down with unbearable grief and disbelief. Kirishima was the first to break. His sobs shook his entire frame as he collapsed forward, pulling so hard against the restraints that his wrist split freely, smearing red down the thick metal bindings. His voice cracked, shattered, as he muttered your name over and over. No, please. His head dropped, forehead pressing against the floor, his tears spilling onto the ground beneath him. He looked at you, eyes wide and frantic, as if you would suddenly wake up, as if this was some horrible nightmare they could all wake up from. Lion, wake up. His voice was barely a whisper now, broken and desperate. Please come back. I can't. Bakugo, on the other hand, was silent. He stared at your lifeless body, his crimson eyes glassy, unable to tear them away from you. His entire frame was stiff, his breathing shallow and uneven. He didn't even scream, didn't even move. Katsuki, do something. Kirishima suddenly pleaded, his voice filled with a mixture of hope and agony. Please, we can't save them. There has to be something. But Bakugo didn't even respond. His mind couldn't process it. You were gone, dead, and he was here, useless, tied up with that quirk-canceling device, rendering him powerless. He had failed. Shit. Bakugo finally snapped, the fury returning, though it was laced with unbearable pain. He yanked at the restraints with everything he had, ignoring the way the metal bit into his flesh, ignoring the blood dripping from his wrists and ankles. They're dead. Bakugo snapped again, his voice filled with the kind of rage that came from a place deeper than anger. They're dead and we couldn't do shit. What good are we if we can't even protect the person we love? The room fell silent again, save for the ragged breath of the two heroes, broken and defeated. You were gone, and no amount of screaming or crying would change that. They were trapped, powerless, and helpless to do anything but watch as the love of their life was stolen away in the most brutal way, and they would never forget that. Thank you guys for listening. Hope you liked this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and goodbye!